Hi guys, hi Krakow. I'm glad to be here. If you were following Twitter of JDD, it was a bit of an issue to get from Gdańsk to here due to the fog, but I'm here. So, if you got any questions during the talk, just raise your hand. You're going to get a mic from the lovely girl in the first row. But I got the issues with light, so I may not see you. Just scream out if you got something to ask. I'm going to speed up through most of the talk because there's a lot of material to cover, but we'll see how it goes. So just raise your hand, shout at me, and it will do. So what we are going to talk about, first thing first, what's the mythical 10 times developer? 10 times what? It turns out that in the 60s, 80s, they've done a lot of research about the developer productivity, and they thought that not developers are born equal. So some of us are more efficient and other, well, not so good. So some traits that they have is that best developers ever are writing code faster. They are using the best tools. They get all the good design decisions. Yada yada. Basically, if you're that guy, then you know what, yeah? So the one only issue with model like that is that it's really hard to get the CV of that guy because he's just one and he does not share it so easily. But we want those people, right? So how to get there? How to become like Chuck Norris? Let's start from the very basics. First thing first, your environment. So you got your desk, and often it's not so clean, it's not so tidy. I heard a story about a developer in Krakow in one of big companies in here who collected mugs. So whenever he took a new coffee, he brought a mug to his desk. He drank the coffee and then he put the mug into his drawer. So the company was buying new mugs just to replace the old ones, and at some point of time they found it out. So I suspect that it was a bit smelly, that's how they found it. So don't do it. Don't collect pizza boxes, because I've heard about stuff like that. You do biological projects in school, not in your company. But you shouldn't remove everything, because there are some stuff that we really, really need, like, I don't know, pen and paper, or whatever else you need, like tablet or your mobile, depending on your work environment. Just clean up your desk, and it will be better for you, because you won't get distracted. Second thing, from the basics, just buy the best hardware there is. Don't go cheap, because it's really about your productivity. SSD is a must. The good keyboard is a must. And basically, any desk that is adjustable is a bare minimum. So if it's standing desk, if it's a treadmill desk, it's a bit hipster, but, well, yeah, if it works for you, it's fine for me. You also should nail software. So I don't care if you use any of those tools, but cover all of those areas. Don't build by hand. Don't deploy by hand. Don't build code statistics by hand. If you're measuring complexity by just writing everything on paper, it's really, really bad. And a lot of candidates that are coming to us for the interview still are building by clicking an Eclipse file, export a jar, and they tell me that they got all the jars in SVN and they manage dependencies by hand. That's a productivity killer. You're just spending a lot of time on something that machine will do better. Sorry. And finally, from the real basics, get a good chair, because it's not so expensive, and you spend in that thing like 6 to 8 hours a day. Same with your bed, top tip, out of the work scope. So if you've been cheap on your chair, then you're spending third part of your work life sitting in something rubbish that really gives you a lot of pain. that can put you out of business, so it's not worth it. Second thing, if you got even a good chair, you maybe don't know how to sit in it. And in this country, it's really simple, because when you join some company, you must go through training, and part of that training should be how to sit. So you get all the angles, how to put your hands, how to stray your back, stuff like that. If you're from outside of Poland or you just skipped it, then go to nearest shop and just do the basics or find it on internet. But that was something that most of you definitely knew or were mostly familiar with. So let's get to some real deal. So, procrastination, a term that raised like a phoenix like 5 years ago. Everyone heard about it? Anyone is not familiar with the term? Okay, good. So let me just state one thing. Why we procrastinate? It's something that I was digging in more recently. And the answer is because our brain is shaped like we are expecting to get the best result with the least effort. So we were built to collect berries instead of go searching for a wild animal and try to kill it, because we get instant reward for eating berries. You just get calories like that. Every berry, it's a small piece of reward. And instead of going for a weekly hunt and maybe getting some decent meal, you get rewards right away. So it's safer and it's better for you, but not in work environment. And here, there are the distractions. So if you will start working and at some point of time you will check the news, Twitter, it's really, really good that if you will tweet something and someone will retweet or favorite it, you will get some notification that 50 people like it. Oh my God, that's great. Who cares about working? And maybe even you will start doing something that looks like work, because it's related to math, right? 2048 is a great computer game, yeah, for all the developers. Yeah, and I know, you will just do it till you pass it, and then you will retire, you will stop doing that till you discover that there is a 3D version and a couple others. So that's really bad. You know that when you're getting distracted, when you go sidetracks, it's killing you. So what was my answer to the issue? I've discovered that I started to browse through the news, Wikipedia, and stuff like that when I didn't know what to do. And I created for myself a bit of a workflow. I started doing a lot of planning. I browsed first through like a billion tools. To become a productive person, I spent like many, many months to check out all the to-do lists, because maybe one will solve all my issues and will do all the work for me. Don't go it that way. Don't go that way. That's just plain bad. Just do stuff. It's simpler. And what I end up with was JDD. It's a great tool. I guess that many people heard about it. Most maybe even tried it, because it's over a decade. The book was published over a decade ago, and it's really well known. It's a simple tool that will give you a lot of insights into being a productive person. You can start planning on doing stuff in like a day, a week, a month, a lifetime span. So you will start gathering all the informations that are needed for you to achieve your goals. And then when you gather the info, you will know, thanks to the many techniques in that book, how to process that, how to split that in some manageable tasks. And then there is an execution bit, which I haven't used because it's not really fitting me so well. So I started to just build on the base of JDD. And stuff that I took from it could be really boiled down to 3 simple rules that if you will take those, I believe that they will change your life. So first of all, note everything down. Find some place where you can just send all the information. And when I say all the information, I mean really all the information. All the tasks, all the notes, all the articles, maybe even emails that are important, just send it out there. Why? Because if you try to think about something that you're going to do next, then you're not focusing entirely on your work, because your brain has to keep the context of the other thing. And when you will put out the thing from your brain onto the paper, onto the machine, somewhere where it won't disappear, you're suddenly getting the full capacity. You can start processing with full brain power, and as you can guess, it's better. The second good reason why you should do it is because if you got a really bad memory, like me, whenever you tell me to do something and I haven't written it down, my team knows it, I will forget about it. I don't care if I should let no client that the production is down. If I haven't written it down and I'm starting to fix the production, client will never know. Sorry. I'm just that guy. I'm that guy with the hole in his brain. So maybe you're not that person, but still, if you're going to have something to do in like 5–10 minutes and your colleague will come and tell you that the production is going down, then you can start forgetting about other stuff. So first thing, note everything down. That's a good rule. Second thing, when you will store all the information, it will be a lot. So you won't be able to review through a whole list of stuff that you've collected on a daily, hourly basis. So after David Allen stated that in his book, I ignored the advice to do a weekly review. But after some time, I started doing them. I reserved for myself like 2 hours on Sunday to clear out all the items related to my personal life or work-related, but not directly, like I'm a JUG leader in Tri-City. So if someone will win a license in a lottery, because JetBrains gives us licenses for IntelliJ, I will ask for the license on Sunday when I go through my to-do list of a weekly stuff. Same thing for work. Friday morning, I'm booked for 15 minutes. And 3 to 5 of those I'm spending on filling up the time of the time tracking system. Rest of it, I review my to-do list. Why? Because I got whole Friday to clear out all the tasks that must be done this week. And it's super easy. It doesn't take a lot of time. It can give you a lot of benefit. Third point, it's a 2-minute rule. It's a bit related to the first thing, to put out everything out of your head as fast as possible. That sounds simple at the very beginning, but then you go into, oh, the heck, how much I can do in 2-minute time. And you must start estimating. So the basic concept is that if you can do something in 2 minutes, do it right away. Don't write it down, because most likely you will be writing down, thinking about what to write even longer than you will execute stuff. So simple stuff like just send email to the client that the production is down. Do it right away, forget about it, go on with your life. Plus, you will get a benefit because your brain will be tricked because you just achieved something. So your brain will give you that boost that, yeah, I'm great, I'm doing stuff. You will be suited better for whatever comes next. Okay, some tools. Some tools that I've discovered very useful. I was using almost all the tools that you can install on the mobile browser desktop for managing stuff. Basically, I've returned to notebook because pen and paper is simple. You can just write down anything you want in any fashion you want. There is no format of a tool that's required. It's great. I put every actionable item in my notebook, and by actionable item I mean something that can be done in like let's say 2 hours at max, and stuff simpler that can be done in a quarter of an hour. So all the notes also can go in there. I've built it on top of something called bullet journal, but like with any other tool. If you meet some technique to make you more productive, think about it hard, think how it applies to what you're doing, and then adapt it, because it makes no sense that, well, great, there's a tool, there's some way that someone is using it, but he has some different context. We, all of us, got different contexts, so we should adapt whatever we find. Then there's the most important tool in my life. It's my calendar, which is in my backpack right now. But my calendar goes with me everywhere. If I need to do something like come in here, it's in my calendar. I got basically 2 days, 4 days, because I meant to be here on weekend, but I couldn't manage that. I got 2 days reserved for JDD. Google Calendar will pop up, send you a text, send email about stuff that is coming right before it happens. Or if it's something like JDD, I can have set up an alarm that, yeah, I should review slides, I should create slides like a month before, I can review slides like 3 days before, and all of my devices will ring to me. Hey, you got something to do. So if you got really bad memory like me, just go for Google Calendar. Then there's Evernote. Evernote is a great tool. You can use OneNote from Microsoft, but it's a simple tool that allows you to store everything in it. And when I mean everything, I really mean everything. You can note down by hand something, because there's a new version that allows you to do that. You can write out from the web plugin to it with storing some information. You can forward emails to it, or just send email to special address, and it will be out there. And all the stuff that I'm getting that's not like 5 minutes, which goes to my notebook, everything that is getting longer or is a relevant information in the future goes out there. Why? Because during the weekly review, I can look at those things, split them up, and then put in either my notebook or think about them, do something about them, I don't know, do whatever. Last tool from my weapon of choice is Pocket. You can use readability or whatever else. It's a simple tool that allows you to store articles in it. And basically, it strips all the articles from the clutter around them, like advertisement, like related links. It just takes the content and put it inside. It's great because it's synchronized with all your devices, so you can read some article on your mobile later on. Or, I don't know, on your iPad, or whenever you really want it. You want to read it in plain, go for it. Thing that I'm a bit of a using, but not, it's Trello. It's related to personal Kanban stuff. If you're in Kanban, it may suit you. We are using that for managing Java user group. It's a great tool. However, I won't tell you a lot about it because I'm not the user, but I know that a lot of people are using that even for managing the personal life, like managing house, because you can synchronize with your better half. And that's it. Okay, so let's take an example. While I'm coding, because I got a task that I should code something, I need to find some piece of information. So what I do, I go for Google. And normally when I go for Google and search for some information, I find a lot of unrelated articles that are great. So before I started to note down everything, I was reading all of them. Or at least I tried my best to read all of them, but then the workday ended and I started to read them the next day. Great. Right now, all the articles go to Pocket. I read them at some point of time that I pick up. All the info that is somehow related to whatever I do goes to Evernote. And if I find something that I should do because it was an, I don't know, Stack Overflow thread, it may go as a task item. And I can proceed. And right now, you got all the information stored, how to execute. Because like I mentioned, I don't like the GTD approach to execution of tasks. So I use Pomodoro Technique. Pomodoro Technique, is there any person that haven't heard about it? Okay. So it's also a very simple concept. I'll try to go rather fast about it, but we should clear it out. So what you do, first of all, where it came from. Pomodoro is Spanish for tomato. It took its name from the kitchen timer, which are most often shaped as tomatoes. What you do is you create a list of all the items that you want to do, of all the really small actions that you want to do. You may estimate them. Then when you're done, you got your list of stuff to do. You set the kitchen timer for 25 minutes. It doesn't have to be kitchen timer, but in the very basics, it is by the vanilla implementation of the book. And after 25 minutes of getting the stuff done, you get a 5-minute break. After break, you set it up for another 25-minute run. And every 3 runs, you get 15-minute break. And while you're doing stuff, while you're coding, while you're executing your project, you turn off your email, you turn off your mobile, and all other clutter. You don't basically cooperate with the rest of the world. You really should focus on what you're doing. What it gives you a great tool for focusing on whatever you're doing. It gives you a backlog of items. It gives you a lot of estimates, because you should really write down how many Pomodoros something took. It's basically like Scrum, and there's something called Scrumadoro. And it's really, really good. You could do probably a session about Pomodoro, about how to handle distractions, how to execute tasks in it. I won't go deeper into that because there is like a billion of materials, but this is the basics. This is the basic stuff that allow you to work. And why go through all the trouble? And there is one very good reason. There is a thing called the zone. While you're coding, you're in the zone or you're in the flow. There are at least those two names that coexist in the space. And the zone or flow is the state of mind where you really know what to do, when you got all the model of your code in your head, and when you will achieve that, you're most productive. You'll almost like Chuck Norris. It doesn't matter what's the language, what's the framework, nothing matters, because you exactly know what to do, because it's really simple. Because when we approach a new code, you have to learn it. You have to master it, and it takes time. And that's the state when you've mastered the code, you've got it in your head, you know how to bang out the code. The tricky part is that if you're going to get distracted, if someone will come, poke you, take for a cigarette break or coffee break or whatever, the model in your head will get out and you will be, again, not as productive. So the very important thing is to handle the distractions. And there is stuff that I believe Atlassian do. They take some time during the day, like from, let's say, 1 p.m. to 3 p.m., and they call them quiet hours. So everyone around the company knows that people in the IT department shouldn't be disturbed during that time. You can set it in your company. Don't do it like 8 hours a day, because no one will listen. But if you will have like an hour or two, everyone should be fine with it, and your productivity should boost. So that's a good way of handling the distractions. That's a top tip. And with that, you really covered the area of getting things to do and how to execute them. But there are some small stuff that each one of us wants to do. And those slides were prepared for 33rd degree in spring. And back then, I called those things habits. And this is definition from Wikipedia with the important stuff bolded. So habits are things that we do unconsciously, but we can train ourselves to do them. We can train ourselves like, I don't know, you would train a dog to do something. And I tried train myself to do some of the stuff. For example, at the beginning of the year, I wanted to change my job. I wanted to switch companies. And to do that, I wanted to end up my project, because I knew that I was quite important for the project. I made the relation with the client. There was no direct replacement for me, so I agreed to stay as long as it was needed. Yeah, I know it may sound dumb, but I think that it's professional to do that. And it's really something that we all should do. We should end up the stuff that we started. But in between, there were some changes in the project, as it happens sometime. So I end up by working like 12 to 14 hours a day. It's really bad for your productivity. Top tip, don't work longer than 8 hours. It's really a good amount of time. Because for me, it was almost a burnout. And I stopped doing all this simple stuff in my life. And I wanted to read, because I like reading. And I couldn't read, because I had no time. So I started to train myself. I adapted my bullet journal. On the very first page, I created a sort of a calendar. In each row, there was a number of a day, representing the number of day in month. Each column was some kind of an activity. They were changing while I was going through with that technique, because I've noticed that, for example, blogging, I wanted to blog. I still want to blog, because I'm a blogger, but on holidays, because I don't get enough of time to write. So I wanted to blog more, so I put it out there. I wanted to read more. I put reading books there. I wanted to clear out all the pocket items, because I was collecting a lot of them, as you can guess. And with hundreds of them, it was really hard to start going through them. There's also doing some exercises. Those are the numbers, because I were increasing the number of repetitions in one series. And there is a meditation. Later on, I switched blogging for Stack Overflow, because I wanted to be more active out there also. And it was kind of a game with myself. If I done something, one of the days, I put an X in the column in a day. If I haven't done something, I put a dash. And how it works? It's same thing as the berries and the wild animal. Basically, it's tricking your brain, because you're playing a game with yourself. If you get a long chain of X's, your brain, and you will tell to yourself that your goal is to get ultimate chain through whole the page, you will be competitive with yourself. You will be trying to achieve it really hard. So it's based on the idea of chains calendar. That's the vanilla name of the implementation. You do it on basically the standard calendar, but a bit adapted in here. And what I've discovered, those are most likely daily routines, because habits are something that we do unconsciously, and reading your book unconsciously is not really a good thing. So, but I haven't changed the name. Still, I conditioned myself to the point where I've discovered that I went to bed and I really couldn't go to sleep because I was missing something, and I missed the act of reading. I knew that I got like 15 X's in a row, and if I won't read today, I will get a dash. So I got up after 14 hours of work, let's say, and started to read. Then I discovered that trying to read a chapter a day is not the best idea if you don't have a time for it. So I reduced the number of pages that I have to read basically to 1 page. It sounds stupid, but most of the days I was, and we are talking about reading technical books. Those are not Lord of the Rings because it's easy. It's something that you should maintain the context, because if on 1 page someone writes code and on the other then he refers to what he written before, you have to know what was on the previous page. So what it gave me, most of the days I was reading like 10, 15, 20, whatever, tell the number. But on the days when I was almost dead, I just read through 1 page. I maybe even didn't remember the next day I read it or whatever. But it allowed me to preserve the context of the book. So I knew that Martin Fowler on last page told me that, and I could start reading from that point on. It was great because whenever I was reading technical books and stopped doing that for like 5 days or I don't know, 10 days, it was really hard to get back because amount of stuff that you had to reread was huge. And other stuff, like clearing out Pocket, I know a lot of people that collect links in Pocket, but they never read them. So my best advice, if you got like 1,000 links inside, just delete them all and start from scratch. Or start applying techniques like that. But set yourself goal really, really low. It helps. If you don't like the analog stuff with pen and paper, there is an application for that, like for everything. I think that it's called RPG habits, like role-playing games habits or habits RPG, doesn't matter. And basically, it allows you to put all your daily routines, all the habits that you want to do, all the tasks, and then assign a number of gold, like real gold, related to each item. For each item, then you get gold. That gold can be spent on awards, like, I don't know, I like chocolate, but I shouldn't eat too much. So for, I don't know, doing 20 push-ups, I get 5 coins. For 50 coins, I can get a candy bar or whatever. You're still conditioning yourself, you're setting yourself some goals, some rewards for playing with yourself to do more. You can try it out. I haven't been playing with it. I prefer paper, but that would be the next thing I'm going to if paper ever fails me. Plus, there is some gamification because you gain levels. That's not really much, but, well, yeah, your character is evolving. Great. OK, that would be all of the work-related stuff. Let's go to other things. Some time ago, I was also I'm still at work listening to people at conferences and also to motivational speakers, at least some time ago. One of the guys named Les Brown told once that you should lie full and die empty. You should lie full of ideas and die empty when you've basically done all the stuff that you want to do. And it's really sad if at your dying bed you're going to think to yourself, OK, I got that whole list of things to do, and there's not enough of time. So I thought to myself what I can do about it, because I'm an engineer. There's most likely some mathematical engineering solution to every problem, right? So I've started to measure things in my life. That's not really accurate, but I created a project from my life. And OK, doesn't matter. The pie chart doesn't matter. Do stuff like that for yourself. It can be an Excel spreadsheet or whatever. But please be aware what you're doing during the day. Because then you can start thinking, OK, I got like 2.5 hours of free time. I want to, I don't know, learn diving. How much time it will take me? How much time do I get on this very weird place called Earth? And with that, you can also spot some things like patterns. OK, I'm traveling for like 3 hours by car, and I could do same in 3.5 hours by train or whatever. So maybe I will travel by train, and while I'm traveling, I will be reading books, or I don't know, maybe I will be coding or whatever suits you, because maybe you can do some stuff out there and be not so long at work, or I will commute from every now and again. So you get some quasi-multitasking, which really helps you, because maybe you can reduce this amount by a bit and increase the free time. I don't know, try it out. There are some techniques to really work on it. Again, I recommend you Pomodoro Technique, because it can suit everything. But if you're not into it, there is a Project Hamster. It's a simple application. If you carry over your laptop, you can just type in what you're doing. It will measure the times. Or there is a professional tool called Rescue Time, where it measures automatically how much time you spend on which web page, in which application, and you can provide additional information. It draws all the diagrams, gives you all the information, stuff like that. If you're a freelancer, it's a great tool. I recommend highly that thing. Or you can create your own tools. Those are my mails from my previous job. I was wondering how many mails I'm getting. Those are just the mails that require my attention. And I've discovered that, OK, I get 45 mails. Those are not Jenkins spam or whatever. Sorry, it was a bit dark, but it wanted to connect to Wi-Fi. Those are mails that I should respond to. So if I get 45 mails that I should read, let's say that I read a mail a minute and then respond to each mail in a minute. And between I do some thinking. Yeah, right. So it's like hour and a half, most likely 2 hours a day I spend on emails. I got some data. I got some number. I can work on it. I got some starting point. I know how can I cut mails. For example, I don't reply to emails in the morning, because that makes no sense. Someone will send me a reply earlier. They can wait. Another trick. If you want to do more stuff in your life, live longer. Situation is bad, because basically we're doing wrong stuff. Learn very basics about food. It's really easy to eliminate a lot of food with a lot of junk in it. And as cool as it may sound, alligator wrapped in bacon, eating whole chicken stuffed with cheese grilled, sounds cool. It's something that you can tweet, but it's really bad for your health. Same with drinking stuff, like don't drink energy drinks, you don't need them. Apple plus water plus some fresh air will work on your brain even better than Red Bull. Don't overdo coffee, because it doesn't work. I know, I've been there. I've been drinking like 16 cups a day, and I'm not the guy who stole all the mugs from, that's not me. But don't overdo coffee. Drink, I don't know, 1 or 2 during the day, then they are working. For the rest of the day, drink water or tea or whatever. Before you go to sleep, I would highly recommend turn off all the devices, because LCD screens and artificial light give you that kind of light that tricks your brain that it's still a middle of a day, and you don't want to go to sleep. It's chemistry, one-on-one. So you want to still be active. If you go to bed, your sleep won't be as good as it should be. So just sit for after turning everything down for 5–10 minutes in dark room, it should be enough. And you can meditate, that's also good. And last thing for today, because I guess that we're going to end it like 7 minutes. Something that turned my world upside down. I discovered that last year or a year and a half ago. I discovered that I'm not entirely true with everyone, because I'm doing a lot of stuff like being a conference speaker, like being Java user group leader, engaging with a lot of people, and really I'm an introvert. I shouldn't like to be with people, right? That's how it works, but it's kind of other way around. And the stuff that I heard about is called Imposter Syndrome. What it's all about, that's also most likely Wikipedia definition. If not, it's from some book. I don't remember. But basically, it boils down to the very simple fact that a lot of talented people, like developers, because they are very intelligent, when they, for example, success, like they will deliver the application against all odds. So, for example, you've just delivered application. No one told you that you can do it, because there was not enough of time, not enough of people, not enough of everything. You delivered it against all odds, because you've made the right decisions. You will still won't believe in yourself. You will still think that it was just a sheer luck, that you just made it because, well, you were quite lucky, and you won't feel like, I'm awesome. And it's bad, because it prevents us from doing a lot of stuff. There's other issue with it, because when I learned about the imposter syndrome, I thought to myself, maybe I'm not so bad, yeah. And I started to feel really good about myself, and then I discovered that there is this thing called the Dunningkruger Effect, which means basically that there are a lot of stupid people which think that they are great, and you know how they look like, those assholes in your job, right? So then I thought to myself, okay, I'm that guy. I'm the guy who's really rubbish and just do all the talking. And I found myself in an infinite loop, because then I went down and maybe I'm imposter, stuff like that. So there is a simple definition how to recognize where you fall into, which category. And that would be, have you ever delivered anything valuable to anyone? Have you delivered any project that maybe helped someone with his life? Maybe you delivered something that changed someone's life. Maybe you've made something easier for someone. If yes, and you're really not sure about your skills, trust me, you're in the first bucket. Maybe you're feeling down in the dumps just because it's really hard to crank out software, because we constantly fail. The first thing that you get when you start coding in a new project, and it's especially a JC application, it's 500 pages. It's a lot of stack traces. A lot of people are coming and shouting at you that, well, you just broke production. Well, it's hard. It's hard, and it's how it's meant to be. And a lot of us are fearing to come out, to talk about what we know. It's maybe a bit cheesy to quote on Will Smith, but, well, that's what I do. It's really hard to get out to people and share, but I really encourage you. There are many ways of sharing the knowledge. Try blogging. Go for whatever Java user group you got out there. Try to speak to people. Try to share your knowledge on Stack Overflow, because trust me, I got a lot of speakers that are not sure of their skills. But when they will come out to people, they will prepare. You will do the same thing. You will prepare. You will learn a lot. I went through a lot of books, presentation, articles, just to give you this talk. So I'm prepared. I've learned a lot during that process. You can do the same. And the true 10 times developer is a person that will share. Why? Because if you're doing all the basic stuff, you're basically a developer. And it's really easy to scale out, because if you got 10 developers that are doing a good job, then you're got 10 times developer. And if you need 100 times developer, just hire 100 people. So I guess that I'm out of time. If you got some feedback, please come here, tell me that I was rubbish, I was good, you liked something, you didn't like something. It will help me. Or you can send me an anonymous mail that I was just rubbish and shouldn't speak in front of people anymore, anywhere, any near. So with that, thank you.